Okay, wait, let me grab her. Don't knock anything. Get. Hi team. I hope you enjoyed that feline interlude at the beginning, because that is a pretty good representation of what it's like to try and do art when you have a cat. But before we get into the speed draw, as always, if you guys play this in the background while you do something more productive, feel free to drop what you're doing down below, because I'm nosy. Last video, a lot of you guys drew along with me, which was really cool, and I love hearing what you were drawing. Some of you played the video while you were doing chores, another person was graphing a science thing. It's just really fun for me to hear how you will interact with the video. Editing Nancy here. I can't believe I failed to mention this, but the person I'm drawing in this video is my friend Jade. She is very, very beautiful. She has a Instagram. It's on the screen. If you're into makeup or just really good selfies, go give her a follow. But yeah, that's all. But regardless, today's video is going to be about cheap art supplies and how, to quote the greatest movie of all time, Step Up to the Streets, it ain't about what you got. It's about what you make of what you got. And this sort of thing is interesting for me to think about because as a younger artist in high school, seeing all these professional artists with years of experience using incredibly expensive, high-quality art supplies, I thought that my art quality would improve when I could afford better supplies. Which is so silly because the people that I had been looking up to had been doing art longer than I had been alive. That was why they were so good. It's so crazy for me to think that I wasn't able to see that. I mean, of course I didn't think that I would buy more expensive supplies and suddenly be the next Hey Carla or Audra or Claire, but I did think that it would help. And on the flip side, I'm not saying that there isn't a difference between cheaper and more expensive art supplies, because sometimes there really is. What I'm saying is that if you don't have the means to get expensive art supplies, you can still make really good art. As a result, I wanted to make this video to show you guys how you can literally pick up pens around your house and still make something really cool. The pens I'm using in this video are something I bought back in high school to color code my notes because I was that kid. And I just looked up the prices, and one of the brands was a 10-pack for $3.75 and the other was a 10-pack for $2. And these are all Australian dollars, so for my American followers, subscribers, sorry, that's roughly the equivalent of a total of about $4.27. And these have lasted ages. Like, admittedly, ballpoint pens aren't my main medium, but they're still a great option to create some fun art because they're colourful and bright, but also really affordable. Not to mention, just on a note on drawing in ballpoint pens in general, this is actually a really great art exercise to improve your art skills. You probably can't see it very well at the beginning just because of how light the pen I used was. But I actually didn't start with a pencil sketch for this drawing. I just went in with the pens, and I feel like for me this has taught me both how to be more purposeful with the lines I put down, like I'm careful with the lines, I am thinking about where I'm putting them and why I'm putting them there, but also how to fix mistakes with minimal panic, because there is a point in this drawing where I have made the jaw too short and also the neck, and so I've just gone over it and fixed it up like that. But anyway, as someone who has gotten to a point in their life where they can afford more expensive art supplies and do invest in them every now and then, I feel quite secure in saying you don't need to when you're making art for fun. Of course, if you're doing commissions for people and making money off of your original works, then you at the very least need to make sure that you're investing in light fast supplies because you want your art to last as long as possible when you're giving it to people. Though that's not what this video is about. Making art on a paid basis is a whole different topic. I'm talking about making art just to make art and to make art for yourself and to hang around your room and all that kind of stuff. So many high-end supplies have more affordable options. For example, Copics have Ohuhu markers, which I own because I am not a marker-based artist, but I love the aesthetics of it, and I like to dabble in using markers a little bit. Sometimes I just get in the mood for that beautifully blended alcohol marker look, but not enough to drop hundreds of dollars on it. And I also own I think it's five Copic chow markers that I spent $25 on because it was 5 for 25. Otherwise, they were like $6 or $7 each. But that's neither here nor there. I bought them just to see if they were that different. And yes, there is a difference. And I do appreciate that Copic markers have a better selection, more pastel markers. I found that the Ohuhu markers do tend to be more saturated, which is lovely, but is kind of limiting in the color palettes that you can use. And that's why the Copic markers I own are all lighter pastel colors. But they're not so different that I feel like I can't make good art with my Ohuhu markers. And I have made great art with them. Acrylic paints as well are also a kind of supply where I think you can get away with buying cheaper supplies. I own an embarrassing amount of paint from a number of different brands, some more expensive and some really affordable. And honestly, my favorite brand of paint is a brand called Global Colors that I think is now called Araldo de Paula because they have the same bottles and font stuff and everything, but I just a different brand name that is frequently on sale where I live, and you can buy a little bottle for $10 or less, and the 250 ml bottles are even more reason class, and that stuff lasts ages. And the paint quality is great. The pigmentation is wonderful, and I've made heaps of paintings with this paint with fantastic results. I even own more expensive paint that I don't enjoy the performance of and barely touch because I have these. One tip I would have though when buying cheaper paints is to look for acrylic paints labeled as impasto paints because those kinds of paints are meant to be quite thick. They're typically used for like a thick layering technique when you're making paintings, but with cheaper paints, because they're trying to formulate something more thick, you will probably be able to avoid ending up with that really runny and not very pigmented kind of cheap paint that some of the more affordable brands can make. What else? Lead pencils as well. I don't think brands make much of a difference. Prices make too much of a difference with those. There are just so many things you can use and make great art with and keep improving with without spending too much money. I'm not using anything other than some pens in this piece until the very end, and that's only because I'm adding embellishments with art supplies I already have and have used for a while. It's all about using what you have, focusing on your skills and techniques, and growing from there. And with that, I think that's the end of this video. This week was a bit shorter than normal, but I didn't want it to be another month between my uploads, so hopefully that was okay. I do have a couple more videos planned, some of which include doing some sketchbook spreads with you guys, since a lot of you seem to like my sketchbook-based videos. So if that sounds like something you'd like to see, or if you like this video, please consider liking and subscribing. And if you do subscribe, remember to turn on notifications so you can see when I next upload. Until then, stay safe and treat yourselves kindly. Bye!